I'm doing a sound check
Okay.
because we have fancy new microphones.
Okay, so what do? Do I just talk?
Yeah, you talk, I talk, we all talk.
Okay.
You say testing, 1, 2, 3.
Right. That sounds fine. Testing. 1, 2, 3.
And then our lovely audience confirms that they can hear us.
And do they?
And do they? Time will tell.
So we tested into thin air.
Yes.
Good plan.
Good plan. I think there's a bit of a delay anyway. Maybe I should say that again. Hello everyone. We've got exciting new microphones and we're just testing. I'm doing a close-up on the microphone because it's wonderful.
You're moving the film, the camera.
Not moving, just doing a close-up.
Oh, I see.
Gonna get into trouble.
You do that without moving?
Sure. Zooming in. Okay. Sounds great from Kansas, USA. Then it must be good.
It must be.
I've got an exciting new microphone stand. We're going up in the world. Yeah, I'm just going to move the camera to directly behind you, Roger, so that I don't have a shot of wires everywhere.
All right. Okay.
Okay, I think everything's perfect now.
Okay. Fantastic. Well, are we live?
We are live.
Right. Well, first of all, a big apology for last week. We were kidnapped by Siri.
We were.
Yes. She's been switched off, but she somehow managed to switch us off in the middle of it last time. So hopefully this time will be without a hiccup. I'm going to, if not finish, at least take this painting further along the road. Same announcements as last time. This will be the last Wednesday we do this. From next week we're going to do it Thursday, and yes, we'll be doing the school on Wednesday, and so a good opportunity to say, if anyone's interested in the classes, it's going to be focused on the kind of work I was doing in the 70s, like Tales from Topographic Oceans, Relayer, Pathways, and up into and including the last one of those very crisp drawings I did, which was for the second Aisha album, Alpha.
Oh, Roger, your mic's going in and out. I think that's because you're facing the camera.
Oh,
but it's okay because we can move the mic because it's fancy.
Okay, is that better?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay.
Try that.
Behave. Right. So yes, we're starting the classes on Wednesday next week, and the live session is going to go to Thursday. And the painting, as I say, I'm going to look at how I did the work in the beginning, because a lot of people have asked me how I did that early work. It's essentially drawing and watercolour, and yeah, it's how I design more than how I paint nowadays, but I still design that way. So that's for next Wednesday. Is there anything else I have to go over? Calendars should be in the shop now. The exhibition this year is 2 months, the whole of November and the whole of December at Trading Boundaries. And as far as we know, that's going to open on the 1st of November. So that's imminent. I'm acting as if that's going ahead. I'm getting stuff framed. And yeah, so Diane Hutt at the Framers in Uckfield has been very busy this week, and I've got to take a lot more in tomorrow, so it's right up against it. Tight. Very tight. And I'm doing a new print with Quentin and New Haven at Howard King, so that should be ready, fingers crossed, on the 1st as well. Okay. So
okay, audio's still fading in and out. That could be for a number of reasons. We do have 2 microphones plugged into the same phone.
Is it? Do I need to stay this close to the phone?
I think so. There's a suggestion as well that it might be because your hand is on the mic clamp. I don't know why that would affect it.
Oh, okay.
Let's just see if.
Well, I'm hoping it is the mic, because that's something fixable. If it's actually the phone, that's.
I'm sure it's the mic, because that's the only variable from all the other times. I'm just going to see if I can turn the volume up on this.
I don't think it has a volume.
Okay.
Oh, did you see a volume?
No, I mean it's unlikely that it does. Now I'm going to try unplugging this mic, and then let's see if your mic is better now. It's the only one in the phone.
Is it? Can you hear me?
To just say a short haiku or poem or phrase.
Very short haiku. That was it.
That was it.
Is it working? Maybe I should go back to
I'll fix the lighting in a minute, guys. Just give me feedback on the sound for now.
Okay, so am I going to get the other old iPhone mic? Would that be better?
Let's see if I just would like your kind feedback on whether you can hear us.
Can you hear me now?
No. Okay.
Old mic.
I think old mic, and we'll work this out with someone technical.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ah, and such a fancy clamp and everything.
Too fancy. Too fancy for our own good. Getting above our stations.
I'll come around the outside.
I'll remove this, shall I?
Okay.
Okay, we've still got the fancy stand.
Well, there was
Now
always
it's
an
back
issue
to
where to
normal.
put the mic.
Okay, now I'm going to fix the lighting because I've moved everything with the mics, so. You can carry on though. Ignore me.
Okay. Well, is this mic actually working? I guess that's the question.
Yes,
It is. This is working.
yeah, it's much better.
Okay. I just think I need to give it a bit more flexibility there. Okay. Good. So what I'm painting here is essentially background for this painting. The painting subject matter will be in the foreground here and here. So this is going to fade out into the distance once I get into the foreground, which I hope to do today. Just to explain, I have done this before. I've got all my paints, but when they get down to the last few squeezes, I keep them all separate. And once they're empty, I don't throw them away until I whenever I do it, I reorder paint. And if I keep all the empty ones, I know which ones I've got to reorder without having to carefully work it out.
That's a good system.
Yeah.
How many years did it take you to come up with that system?
Is that your question?
That's my question. How did you guess?
I always knew it was a good idea to keep the empties, but I haven't always done it, which is often means when I go and buy paints, I guess what I need, and which often means I buy too many of one and forget to buy something of another colour. So it's been awfully hit and miss, but really I started doing this before lockdown, but not much before. So it's only been going a year or so.
It's a very new system.
Is it a new system?
I would count that as new.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you everyone for all your feedback on the sound.
And
It's very helpful.
And it's working now.
It's working now. We've gone back to the old ways.
Yeah. But we've at least got the microphone in a better place now.
True.
That's oldish ways.
Yeah. Old but improved. Are the calendars in Roger at rogerdean.com in the shop?
Sorry?
Are the calendars at rogerdean.com in the shop?
Yes, they are now.
They are now, okay. So they should be there. Maddie's having trouble seeing it.
Ah. Well, the fulfillment on things like calendars is done by a company called Sandbag. When we send them stuff like the calendars, they photograph it and then put it up. And I was told that they had done that. So I'll check that. But if it's not there tonight, it'll be there tomorrow morning. It should be there. I was told it should be there.
Yes, Stuart, feedback on the sound was a deliberate pun. I definitely did that deliberately to make people laugh.
Yeah? What was that?
Not at all accidental. Apparently I said thank you for your feedback on the sound.
Ah.
Yeah, they don't seem to be there yet, so the calendars.
Okay. I can check that tonight. As soon as we're done, I'll make a call in and say.
How many new paintings will be included in the Close to the Edge anniversary project?
I don't know at this moment. We have 3 big ones and maybe 3 smaller ones. I imagine in total maybe 10. Yes. there are 10 that are planned out. So I'm kind of chasing that down, trying to get that finished.
Sandbag is sandbagging on calendars. It's a puns galore evening.
Yes, it's terrible.
What sandbagging is that? American?
No?
Oh, I've just never heard that term.
It's... Oh, you mean the...
Is as in someone's sandbagging, I presume it means they're reneging on their promise in some way. I'm not even going to try to break out the phthalo blue puns.
The what?
Phthalo, what's that colour called?
Oh.
Phthalo.
Yes. Yeah, easier to point to it than to say it.
Yeah. Will the cover of the new Close to the Edge project be brand new or the one used for the remixed LP last year?
Oh, wow. I don't know. I'm imagining it'll have to be a mix between something very new but recognisable. So it won't be too far removed from what I've done, because it has to be recognisable, except that the original Close to the Edge cover didn't have the painting at all. So
what did it have?
It had a plain textured green background with the logo and the title, that was all.
Oh, Galen says sandbagging means they're laying down on the job.
Is that what it means?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably an Americanism, but it might just be that I've never heard it. I like that.
You're encouraging people. This is...
Yeah. I mean, deliberately performing at a lower level than you're capable of. What? Because I might have guessed that it meant being a really good resource in a flood risk, which is the opposite.
Don't forget I have to listen to this.
People aren't asking many questions. Oh, here we go. How many new Close to the Edge paintings are you doing?
Didn't someone
Didn't we just say that?
Yeah.
Okay. We need new questions, people. Otherwise you'll have to listen to me sprouting nonsense.
Yeah, as I said, I expect to be 10 in total. I'm about halfway through, so...
Will these new ones be available as prints or posters?
Well, we'll see. It would be a bit strange to have 10 prints or posters all on the same theme, but we'll see. I don't know.
Is this painting called Over the Edge?
I think we'll turn the sound off.
doing weird things.
That's because you've been moving it too
Well,
much.
no, it was it was fine before. I'm gonna move. There we go. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Would you ever consider doing this whilst I just narrate an audiobook to you?
Would I ever consider doing painting live with an audio?
Painting live to an audiobook live.
Wow, that would be odd.
Well, I think odd comes with the territory when I'm involved.
I could use it to edit out the jokes.
In your opinion, if Maddie asks an artist to create a cover for her new book in the style of Edward Hopper, would that be infringing copyright?
Oh. Well, there's no copyright in style. It's a question of the manifestation. If it was only in the style of, technically I think the answer would be no, but it would have to be subject to looking at the piece. In the end, it's down to the manifestation. If the manifestation is too much like a Hopper painting, then it's a copyright infringement. If it's like a Hopper painting but unlike any he actually did, then technically it shouldn't be. Did that make sense?
Yeah, I guess it's not a cut and dry thing when it comes to art, is it?
Style is the tricky word. You can't copyright an idea, and you can't copyright a style unless that really comes so close to infringing on the manifestation of a painting.
How are you enjoying this process of having people around the world watch you paint?
I feel very relaxed about it because it's not like being in front of people, which might be different, might be more. I've done that too, and I've enjoyed that too. I like it because I listen to the questions and the jokes if I can't get out of it.
You shut your ears for those bits.
You got to do an editorial job there. Yeah, I enjoy it. It's an honour to have people take time out to watch.
Have you received a mock-up of the new book or any news on the publishing company?
On the new book.
Mm.
Did I show sketchbook drawings of the page layouts?
I think you did.
Yes, I think I did. No, I've got to chase that up. Good thinking. I'll chase that up.
Will the TFTO discussion be held on the 22nd?
Will what?
TFTO, Tales from Topographic Ocean, presumably.
Yes.
Discussion be held on the 22nd.
No, 28th.
28th.
And it's not a discussion. It's a class, and it's 6 classes. So basically, I'm doing what I did in the early summer, but that was very much focused on acrylic painting, which is what I'm doing now, as it happens. But I did get asked, could I talk about how I did those early pieces? And as it's really focused on drawing very much, they were coloured drawings, I was quite excited to do it, although it was a very labour-intensive way of working for me. I had to paint everything. Now it's more about, giving the impression without having to, paint every leaf on the tree or every drop of water. It's much more impressionistic, what I'm doing now. But in the end, I hope it will look every bit as precise and detailed. That's the hope.
Glenn said they'd listen along to my book, my audiobook narration.
So you were thinking of narrating a book?
Yes, I'll narrate an audiobook whilst you paint.
Oh, I see. They'll do anything to stop you telling jokes, Christopher.
Well then, great. We're all on board.
I did actually, amazingly enough, have someone read to me when I was working on Relaya.
Oh wow!
That was Dominique. She liked reading out loud. She often did, and I was the beneficiary in that particular project. That took really ages.
Cool. What was she reading?
She was reading Lord of the Rings. And to give you an idea, I never finished the painting in time.
Yeah.
She finished the book long before I finished the painting.
Oh really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's how long a painting takes.
How long that one took.
Do you have any plans to do another White Willow album?
Well, as with anything, I have to be asked. And I did enjoy doing the last one, it has to be said. So at the moment, no plans, but no plans, no negative plans either.
Why do you often redraw and repaint your classic works instead of scanning and printing the originals?
In the case of Close to the Edge?
Yeah, for yes, yeah.
Well, it's an odd thing because it was... Yes, have done several re-releases of classic albums, like they did the Steve Wilson remixes of classic albums, and I wanted the covers to look like the original, but just a bit different. And so there was that reason. Then they did a box set called Progeny, I think it was called, which was Yes Songs, was basically live recordings from the Rainbow Theatre in 1972, and Progeny was live recordings from the American tour. So, and they did 4 complete live recordings. So again, it was, the music was revisiting, and so I enjoyed the changes. I enjoyed looking at them slightly differently, but nevertheless they were the same. And what's triggered the Close to the Edge thing is that the narrative, the story behind the image is being developed, and so I'm looking at the paintings including more of the narrative. What I'm doing here is what a million years ago I might have done with an airbrush, which is to make the bottom of the painting look more misty. I want it more misty, but not too even.
We're having some audiobook suggestions.
Sorry?
We're having some audiobook suggestions, one of which is The Very Hungry Caterpillar. It's one of my favourite books.
That's not an audiobook, it's a picture book.
Very quickly.
A picture book won't work.
Unless I read it 100 times on repeat.
I see.
Do you have any special light bulbs or sunlight that you prefer to use for painting?
The answer to that is not really. I have had people suggest that I should, and they go to extraordinary lengths to make sure that some lights match daylight. But you know, the human brain can adjust. It can work in different light, and it doesn't need to be absolutely exact wavelength of daylight at noon at a particular latitude.
Are there some people that think that way?
Yes, there are people who really do think you need daylight to work in. I don't like working in bright sunlight, but apart from that, it's, yeah, I'm not that troubled.
Do you find the same satisfaction when you're doing hand-finished prints of your classic paintings?
It's a different satisfaction. It's always, I always enjoy painting, but there's not really anything that can compete with the joy and the surprise of working on something new. So I like that. I like very much working on something new. But then I just like doing it as well. So it's
Have you had any badger sightings?
any what?
Badger sightings. Sightings of the badger.
Are you asking me? You're asking.
I'm asking you. You have a badger living with you now.
Oh yes. Well, unlike the foxes, which I see all the time, I haven't seen the badger. Just some evidence of it. So, and it was pouring with rain today, so I didn't go out and have a look.
Have you left them out any more takeaways?
No, I got to
sample what they like best.
Yeah, I've got to do some more serious research into what they eat. Somebody told me I wasn't giving them enough slugs and earthworms, and I thought, well, I don't need to. They can get their own.
You'd have thought.
You'd have thought, yeah. I was thinking, give them some treats, you know, like hot cross buns and stuff like that.
Toasted.
Egg fried rice. Fussy. They're worse than the cats in terms of fussiness.
Have you got any further teasers on guests for upcoming podcasts?
I have, but I need to clear that with people before I talk about it. So, yeah.
That's enough of a teaser, I think. That's a very teasing teaser.
Right. I think Freya might put the first one up on Monday. I'm not quite sure how we're going to do it. One a week or alternate weeks with the Q&As or in addition to the Q&As. These are all things we're sorting out. She keeps me very busy, that girl.
She does. How did you create the Asia logo?
Well, that was surprisingly easy and obvious. Because Jeff and Steve joined Carl and John in Asia, so Asia was essentially 50% made up of people who were in Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was a decision that they would go in a different direction to Yes, and I went in one day to see Steve. We were talking about something, and I went into the studio, and while they were finishing off a track or something, I was standing by a piano which was covered in album cover ideas, and I was looking through them. And when the guys finished and they came out and started chatting, I said, "It doesn't look to me like you've really got a cover here." And they said, "No, we don't." So I said, it wouldn't be that hard to go to do something totally different to Yes. And they said, "Well, how? How would you do that?" And I said, "Well, for example, the subject matter. I never painted a dragon for Yes." And that caught their imagination, I think. And we talked about the logo, and I said, "Well, Yes is very swirly and soft. We could just do something much more geometrical." And so I went off and played with some ideas. So in a way, as I say, it was to be unlike Yes. And that was both the challenge and the motivation for that particular direction. But in the end, whatever the starting point, the end point has to be something that is sort of memorable, because it has to be recognised more than read. And yeah, it was. So then the fun started, well, I'm trying to make something work along those lines. I love doing the Yes ones, but I also love doing the Asia ones too.
Why did they come up with Asia as a band name, do you know?
Do you know what? I never ever asked. It seemed like a good idea, and I never thought, how did that come about? There's not been a lot of overt references to Asia. So in the end it was a name, not a reference. So I'm standing here staring at it because I don't need to do much more at this stage until I really fix the foreground, and that's all happening in this part of the painting. So there's a foreground and a middle ground, and then this is the background. But I'll probably gently knock it back further before I do the foreground, and by doing that, I like that bit of rock, but it's probably standing out just a little bit too much. So yeah. I can do that. I can just gently paint over it till it settles back into the distance a bit more.
Did you learn to do this, like, you know, initially the first few, or the first, I don't know, 100 times you painted rocks? Would you copy real rocks?
Oh, I have copied real rocks, yeah. Yeah, very often actually. I wonder if I've got something right handy. Probably. I put it away, but there was something right here.
I just wondered if you were, it was an ability you'd always had to paint from mind, or whether it's that you've done it from life so many times that you no longer need to reference life.
You've always got to go back to painting from life on a regular basis. Otherwise, it's hard to generate it without doing that. And I was looking for the calendar because the painting on the cover of the calendar is called Rock Pools, and it's a portrait of 3 different clusters of rocks brought together into one painting. But each rock in that painting is a portrait. And yeah, I love that. I love painting portraits of rocks or anything, trees, whatever. I think if I do that from time to time, it gives the picture an anchor in reality that makes anything that isn't real that much more powerful.
Do you have any thoughts or feelings about squirrels? That's not a me question. That's Jefferson Ogata wonders. I'm not sure if it's leading somewhere or not. It just says, as someone who observes nature, do you have any thoughts or feelings about squirrels?
In the same way I do about badgers, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah. Well, we have swarms of squirrels all over the place around here, and I love it. Although it was an interesting thing, I have a friend who works in forestry, and I rang him up and I said, I think the local trees are dying of something. And he asked me to describe it. I said, well, the trees all look very healthy, but they've all got branches that look like they're dying back. So this was early summer, and there shouldn't have been brown leaves. And he said, oh, that's squirrels. They nibble through the bark. Ah, the buggers. I had, in my last studio, my cat didn't really know how to relate to other animals. And it brought in things you would never expect a cat to be able to bring in without hurting, like a frog. Imagine a cat bringing in a frog utterly undamaged, very mightily pissed off, but undamaged. And I was astounded. And the cat, I did explain that, you know, you can't play with a frog. It doesn't like it. So one day it brought in a squirrel. And the squirrel was, oh my God, you'd have turned blue with or red with embarrassment. The squirrel had the most foul tongue. It was really, really angry and was swearing away. And it was running up and down the curtains, swearing at the cat. And I thought, no, this isn't going to work. How am I going to get this creature out of here? I didn't in the end. I just opened the windows and he left eventually. But boy...
How did the cat bring him in alive? That's quite impressive for him to be that angry, but the cat still brought him in.
Yeah. Yeah. Freya had a rabbit when she was very young. And the cat was very curious about the rabbit. I think it was a little bit put out that the rabbit got so much of Freya's attention. But the rabbit hadn't been told that it should be wary of cats, because cats are predators and they do eat rabbits. But we had one very hilarious afternoon where the cat was stalking the rabbit and the rabbit turned on the cat and chased it. Oh, that's very undignified. You don't want that story to get out.
We're getting requests for a close-up. Do I have permission to move the camera and come in close?
Close-up of what?
Of the painting. Or of you. It's not been specified. They'll have to correct me.
I'll hide while you do a bit.
Okay. So, I can do this and then move across. You've been asked about the new small piece of water here. Where's that coming from?
It's the same lake or river or source that it's all coming from. So it's, it's a series of bays. What I've been doing today is, it was a sketchy silhouette before, and I've kind of done a little bit of hinting at shaping the rocks and, the cracks and so on. We're all there in the sketchy bit, so I was just picking that up and putting a little bit of emphasis into it. I always thought it would be cheating if in between the sessions I finished the painting, but Freya's been giving me so many tasks, so I don't see any chance of that happening.
It's 7:45.
Oh, okay, so shall we say last questions?
Yes, any more questions? Squirrel related or otherwise?
No squirrel.
No, not squirrel related. Otherwise.
I think you encourage people.
I'm sorry,
Christopher.
I'm terrible.
You are.
You'll have to fire me and get someone far more serious.
Okay, well, I'm going to give that a rest for tonight. Thank you all very much for joining us, and we'll see you next Thursday if you're interested. Not next Wednesday, because next Wednesday is the school, and if you're interested in that, the school site is on the web page, and you can go and find that there. I'll see you next week. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, everyone.